Hello.
Wait, how do we do?
Do you mind if I
just
erase?
It is.
Not the turkey, but the rest.
It's definitely. It is.
Thank you.
Greetings, everyone. How are you all today?
Great.
Tired.
Welcome to the world. It's something. Welcome to your first and only lecture of TLO 101 and a half.
What is?
Take out your notebooks, you will be needing notes. There is a quiz at the end.
What?
Today you will be learning the deeply interesting lore of the video game The Last of Us. Trigger warning, or content warning. Content warning. There is death and murder and a little bit of torture. I will not be going into depth about it, but I will be mentioning it.
Thank you.
So if you'd rather not be in here for that, leave. We will laugh at you.
Everyone point laugh. Do you get like
Pull
a
up my
mutilation?
notes. Okay, hello. Let's see if I can figure out this out. So, welcome to time. It all began in the year of our Lord 2013. Great year. Now there are a lot of very important people to this story, which I'll be writing over here.
Memory as we know it. I thought this was going to be about One Piece.
No.
Oh,
So, the first person of note is a good man. Good is a relative term, actually. His name is Joel. He is from Austin, Texas, and he has a daughter named Sarah. This is also an important character. None of this is going to be legible. Don't worry about it. What?
Is it for the second one or the first one?
Yes. I'm going to see if I have enough time to try to get into both.
You have like half an hour.
Yes, I know. That's the thing.
10:13.
So, Joel and
I
Sarah.
have a question.
What?
Are there spoilers? Because I kind of want to play this game.
There are a lot of spoilers. I'm literally going down the entirety of the game's
Can
lore.
you?
You can
for the
cover
sake-
your ears and go la 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 la.
Whatever.
What?
He was wanting to like. I was about to say for the sake of just doing a basic timeline that doesn't go into.
No, I'm spiting you now.
What is so easy?
So, welcome to Austin, Texas, which, not relative, it's now 2013. Remember 2013 if any of you can remember 2013, which is, so I'm sorry. So, Joel is in Austin, Texas with his daughter Sarah. It's his birthday in September. So, a thing that I will have to clarify. What is going to happen on this day is awful and terrible and reminiscent of things that would come later in the real, such as a worldwide quarantine and also like a lot of people dying. In this situation, 60% of the world population dies after like 20 years through this infection. It is a fungus called cordyceps, I believe, which usually infects bugs and takes over their nervous system, leads them to a high place where it then releases spores, basically zombie ants. Now think that, but humans. And also, a lot of body horror. Go.
That's an actual real thing.
Yeah, I know. It is real, and it is terrifying.
If it is.
So basically, there are 4 main stages to the infection of a human, of this cordyceps brain thing. The first are the runners, then there's the stalkers. Oh, I need to look at my notes. Clickers,
Oh, no,
and
not
then
like
bloaters or shamblers. So basically, this goes from days after initial infection to, I believe, a decade afterwards of just eventual fungal growth on the human body. So, this is within the same year of the outbreak. It started in South America and then spread to the rest of the world. It had just gone to Austin, Texas 2 days prior. People are getting mass infection of this thing. Joel is caught up in it with his daughter Sarah and his brother Tommy. That's a very important name. Tommy.
the opening of this game made me very sad.
It should.
Yeah, I played up
At
to
the
like
he is very important. We'll be following Joel, and then this girl we'll talk about later. But here, at the very beginning in 2013, let's go here. The outbreak happens in Austin. Sarah, and Tommy try to leave. They get caught up by the military. They're ordered to kill them. Joel gets away, Sarah dies. That's basically all you need to know. Then there's a 20-year skip in time, which is a while. So we are now in 2033. There's supposed to be a 0 there. But that's not saying that a lot of stuff doesn't happen in the in-between. Some stuff does happen, such as, I think, about here, Ellie is born. And that's a good thing, kind of. Ellie is a girl. That's all you need to know right now. But she's also very pivotal. Later down the line, about three weeks prior to this, Ellie is bitten by a runner along with one of her friends. Don't remember the name right now. Where her friend dies and is turned into one of those monsters while she lives after having this infection kind of like mutate in her to not kill her. Instead, she is kind of like found to be a cure. Next big thing. More terms I have to define. What is FEDRA? Okay, FEDRA is the Federal Disaster Response Agency. And basically, after the outbreak, FEDRA was formed and then quarantined a bunch of major cities to make sure that people lived this. Unfortunately, they are incredibly militaristic and are, I think, in-game, like, talked about as, like, they're kind of a fascist dictatorship. And they're the only remaining portion of the US government because the rest was dismantled. Boston, which is where we pick up back here, is the only remaining quarantine enforcement zone, QEZ, that is held up by FEDRA. So this is where we pick up. Tommy and this girl, Tess, she's about his age. She's kind of important, but not really. Are dealing, basically they're smugglers at this point. That's how they get their money, or in this game it's ration cards because food is currency. And they were smuggling a job for this guy named,
It was Noah, I think.
no, it started with we'll just call him Randy. So they're trying to find Randy to get back their payment because they ordered like a big shipment of weaponry for them and didn't get payments for it. They find him, kill him, and that's a bad thing because they didn't get back their weapons because Randy sold it to the Fireflies. Now the Fireflies are kind of like a faction group that are trying to go against FEDRA to ensure that basically their main goal is to find a vaccine for the brain infection thing, and then to reestablish a government and try to make the world start going again, where FEDRA has kind of stagnated. So they're like, oops, we need to find a Firefly, and they do. Marlene, this is also an incredibly important name. If you need to remember any of them, remember this. Marlene. This is illegible, that's fine. So they find Marlene, they start talking, and they're like, okay, we want our stuff back. And she's just like, well, if you're gonna do that, you need to do a job for me. There's this girl named Ellie. We can't tell you why we need you to smuggle her out of the city, just smuggle her to this certain place, City Hall, just down the way, we'll give you everything and more. So they do that. They smuggle Ellie out of the city after encountering both infected and guards. Tess is bitten in this point of time, and within, I think, an hour, she said that it looked worse than Ellie had in 3 weeks. So that means it was real, basically. So then they're trying to figure out where to go next. And Joel's biggest idea is to go all the way to Jackson, Wyoming, while they're in Boston. Yeah, Jackson, Wyoming. Because that's where his brother Tommy lives. Tommy was a high-ranking Firefly before he left, and he might have some information. But that's also basically across the country. So they need to go to, let me pull the map. Lincoln, Massachusetts. Yes, they need to go to Lincoln, Massachusetts, to get a car from this guy named Bill. This whole arc really doesn't have much like importance story-wise. Just know that they get a vehicle from Bill, drive to Pittsburgh. That's an important place because they get stopped, their car is ransacked. I'm trying to remember. That's basically it. They get stopped and their stuff is ransacked in Pittsburgh. Yeah. That's basic. Oh wait, no, that's not it. The next important thing. This is during the summer. My bad. So this is the summer. During the summer, they run across two guys named Henry and Sam. They become friends, but Sam is eventually infected, which leads to both the death of Henry and Sam. Then there's another time skip. So they go from Pittsburgh to actually get to Jackson County in Wyoming in about the rest of the summer, and now it is autumn. This is an important time frame because that's where. Ooh. Thank you for moving back. So that's where they find Tommy. They actually do find Tommy. They reach Jackson, Wyoming. They reunite with Tommy, and they're just like, "Hey, things are bad. This girl is infected. She's also probably the cure. You used to be a Firefly, so you probably know where like this whole testing facility was." And he was like, "Yeah, I do. It was over in University of Eastern Colorado." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's kind of a far distance." So this is where Joel is like, "Dude, I'm tired. My probably girlfriend, I don't know, is never explicitly stated, died like a month ago or so, and I'm still really messed up about it. Take this girl away from me and bring her to them yourself." And so Tommy's like, "Okay, I'll do that." So that's an important thing. Ellie, not a big fan of this, because Ellie has a lot of issues with people leaving her, because she literally watched her own friend turn into a fungal monster, which is probably traumatizing. Let's be real. So basically, they fight. They kind of fight, but it's like nothing really major. Because eventually Joel decides, I'll just go with them anyway. I don't really care. So Joel and Ellie reach the university. They find out that they had moved all their stuff out of there because I think something like monkeys in the facility had gotten infected somehow, and then they infected someone at the facility, and then everyone died, which is bad. So they were on their way out, trying to leave, when they're ambushed by a ton of people. Now this is a very major point of the story right here, where Joel is trying to fight these people off. He falls like from a second or third story awning directly onto some rebar. And if you didn't know, that's really bad, getting impaled on metal. So Joel is like mortally wounded. So he's mortally wounded, and Ellie is like, "Oh God, my kind of dad is dying." So they get him out of there. He doesn't die, but now it's the winter, and Ellie is basically trying to survive all on her lonesome, while slowly healing up Joel. He's got an infection in his side from, the rebar. But she's been actually taking good care of herself and himself, feeding him well, making sure that he survives. When one day she's out hunting, she meets this guy named, I think his name was David. He's a real creep, I'm be real. He's creepy as hell. But David, that's an important name. he's with, I think, a group called the Hunters. And no, I think he's with, doesn't matter. Basically, he's looking for Joel, but secretly, because they were from like a nearby place. Basically, a bunch of his men were killed by this old guy and a little girl, which describes Ellie and Joel. To Ellie, then he gives them like antibiotics to bring back to Joel, which was a way to lead them to Joel. Bad. They find Joel. No, they follow Ellie. Ellie leads them away. Joel wakes up after being administered the antibiotics, and he finds out where David is. By this time, Ellie had been captured and was being threatened to be chopped up to be eaten, or something. It was really weird. But Joel makes his way to David. David dies because Ellie murders the shit out of him. Like, holy. It was very much worth, like, the man deserved it. He was really creepy, like, oh, kind of stuff. But then, woo, another time jump. It's spring. It's spring, which is a good thing, because now they're at Salt Lake City, which is where the Fireflies had moved to a nearby hospital. They start making their way there, but they're trying to navigate through an underwater tunnel, and they got stuck in a bus that caused this huge movement. Ellie can't swim, so she almost dies. Joel tries doing CPR on her, but then is knocked out by a firefly, which we only know after he wakes up in the hospital. So, at the hospital. Basically, the quest is complete. Joel delivered Ellie to the fireflies, right? Well, here's the thing. Since, cordyceps is a thing that affects the brain, the only way they'd be able to, take out the cordyceps that are, the possible cure would to be take them out of the brain, killing Ellie.
Which way are you going? The good way or the bad way?
The way.
Which one? Because there's two ultimate timelines in that part. Which way?
That's for The Last of Us Part 2. We'll get to that, because The Last of Us Part 1 has a definite ending.
Yeah, but that one scene. Oh,
We'll
it
get-
has different parts.
Well, no. So they're like, oh, we need to kill Ellie, basically. And Joel was like, I literally traveled half across the country and risked my life and almost died tons and tons and tons of times. Now you're telling me you're gonna kill this girl that I kind of became a surrogate father to? And they're like, yeah. So he makes his way throughout the building. Kills a lot of people, a lot of medical people, a lot of scientists. He makes it to the place where they're trying to perform surgery before they actually begin the surgery on Ellie. And two big things happen right back to back on our timeline. They kill, I think his name was Lucas. Let me check. Yeah, it was Dr. Anderson, I guess. So, Dr. Anderson is the guy that's trying to do surgery. He threatens Joel with a surgical tool. It's just you don't want to do this, man. You don't know what you're doing. But Joel kills him. That's really important. We'll get to that later. And then later, Joel kills Marlene, which is the leader of the Fireflies, by the way. So that basically dismantles the Fireflies in a single day. Joel steals a car and drives away with Ellie back to Jackson. And that's the plot of the first game. That's a lot. Questions so far?
What happened?
Exactly. Okay. So that's our first timeline. This is where I didn't prepare as much because I didn't expect to have enough time to do this. So things are about to get a lot more confusing.
You have a total of 13 minutes left.
Oh Christ, I have time. So this is where a lot of new people come in. It is the next few years afterwards. The first thing that happens in our first timeline. Let's see. Okay, so basically, when they got back to Jackson, when Ellie and Joel got back to Jackson, Joel basically told Ellie, "Hey, all that Firefly stuff, it was gobbledygook. It was lies. It was a farce. They gave up because apparently there was quote unquote more people like you. So you're not special. You know, your whole life goal to like be a martyr or something is now gone. But you know what? It's fine because you're alive and I'm your dad now." She didn't buy it. She really didn't buy it. So eventually, in the year 2036, yes, in the year of 2036,
You're just laying in your bed with Thanksgiving, going to sleep, and you're just like, damn, God of War is
Ellie goes back to Salt Lake City on her own to discover what happened. Finds out that Joel was lying and gets really mad, like really pissed. And basically cuts contact with Joel. So basically, Joel and Ellie, they're not on speaking terms as per Joel's choice. So. Now I need to introduce a lot of characters. A whole host of characters. But we'll see. The most important one first. Her name is Abby. Remember that Dr. Anderson guy that I really pointed out that he was killed? That was Abby's dad. So Abby is pissed at Joel and Ellie because, you know, killed my dad. And also, you know, stopped the whole world or something. Probably stopped the... That part doesn't matter to her, really.
He like destroyed a
So we then, after a bit of a time jump to 2038, where basically Joel and Ellie are still living in Jackson. There's like this kind of dance. Ellie kisses a girl, homophobia happens. Joel gets on the homophobic guy's case. Joel and Ellie are trying to fix their relationship. Next day, Joel and Tommy are out doing rounds, making sure that there are no infected in the area, when Abby arrives. And that's really bad because Abby wants Joel dead. Like, really dead. So, Abby lures Joel and Tommy into a mansion that she and her group have stayed in. They knock out Tommy, and then they torture and kill Joel in front of Ellie in a really gross scene. But yeah, this is a big thing. Dead. It's supposed to be a tombstone. You're goddamn. So this is like in March of this year. So Ellie has a lot of time to ruminate before she eventually says, "Okay, I'm gonna go to Seattle," and then kill these people because they found out through different like patches and insignia that they are a part of the WLF. This is an important thing. It will be on your quiz. Do not forget there is a quiz at the end of this, and I will judge you for not getting things right. WLF. They're the Washington Liberation Front. They are mainly posted up in Seattle, but they were basically... Thank you. Thank you. But, yeah, basically the Washington Liberation Front, They took out Fedra in their area, but there's also a rival faction that used to be part of the WLF that split off called the Seraphites. Or Scars. I'm going to write them as Scars up here because, dear God. Seraphites is really weird to spell. The Scars are basically a cult that say, technology bad, we should return to our roots of being like more naturalistic people. Because, you know, something about nature, don't kill each other, but they kill each other because, you know, something about religious teachings being twisted into evil stuff. I don't know, I didn't pay attention. So during some unknown date and time in the year of 2038, I left out some important names. So, Ellie, the girl that she kissed, and the dude that was the ex of the girl that she kissed, also Tommy, they all leave to go to Seattle, and they make it. They left at separate times, but they still made it there at around the same time. And a lot of bad things happen. I need to put on a separate... There are now 2 timelines, starting from about the same point. Because The Last of Us Part 2, narratively, was a little messed up, where it followed both Abby and Ellie's journey, but I don't really remember it too well. And my notes are just vague enough to not be helpful. So, Abby is in that area. She's working with the WLF. She does her rounds. Seraphites attack her. So Seraphites attack Abby. Abby wins this confrontation, but goes back to the big man that's the leader of the WLF. Don't remember his name. And they basically have a confrontation. She's just like, hey, I think I should go find the rest of my friends because they mysteriously disappeared and we need them. His name was Owen, was the rest of her friends. The leader guy's just like, no, I need you to help me with this big thing that's happening here, where we're going to go try to invade the Seraphite Island, because they live on an island, I guess, to basically kill all of them, because, whoa, violence. So, during this time, Ellie is currently trying to get into Seattle. So Ellie is currently getting into Seattle. She gets into Seattle with the girl. God, what was her name? Dina, that was her name. So Dina and Ellie make it into Seattle. They find like a safe place. They hide there for the next few days, while occasionally going out. Ellie, over the course of 3 days, basically kills all of Abby's friends while trying to figure out where Abby is, because even though like Abby's where her real beef is, the rest were still there and helped with the killing of Joel. So during this entire time, Abby is currently trying to find Owen, and in this time she's ambushed by Seraphites and is almost killed, but then 2 straggler Seraphites save her, and then she helps them get away. Their names are Len and Yara, I believe? Yeah. But yeah, basically, near the end, these 2 things converge, where Abby found the hideout along with Yara, because Len died during this whole thing. This whole thing was basically the attack on the Seraphite Island, where almost everyone was killed, including people on the WLF and on the Seraphite side. Yara was killed, but so was the leader of the Wolves, which is the name of the WLF, just what they actually called themselves. So here's where everything connects. Abby and Ellie fight. Ellie gets really roughed up along with Dina, but Yara tells Abby to not kill them. Something about the cycle of violence being bad. And then there's more afterwards, but really, when I was playing the game, my brain turned off to all the story that was happening. So basically,
What are the other realms?
Ellie just finds Abby again, and then tries to kill her, but doesn't, because she feels bad. That's about it.
But this is only for.
Questions?
What happened to Tommy in the first game?
Tommy in the first game. Good question. During this, right here, Tommy was with the rest of the group in the movie theater, and then Tommy was shot in like the head area, but not lethally somehow. But the other dude, the guy that kissed the ex of Dina, who was the girl that kissed Ellie, got killed by Abby. Abby did both of those things. Any other questions? Cool. Let me show you the quiz.
Is it on the Google?
How do I share the quiz with you?
Wait.
With
No,
me?
not
Yes.
What is it on?
It's on Google Docs.
No.
You
Wait.
you can just click share, and I can
No.
put in my address.
I'm over the ones that.
Okay.
That's like. Wait, Thor is a good guy. Who can't remember the ones that go against
There you go.
What was the bad guy?
Don't scroll past the second page.
Wait, what was
Of the quiz.
Yeah, because there's where the answer
the
came.
value?
All right, everyone get out a piece of paper. This is mandatory.
We only have 2 minutes.
Shit.
That's all.
Quiz!
That's a long quiz.
Yeah.
It's only 20 questions that are like one word, basically. Okay, fine, then we'll do it by basically.
No, I'm not.
Who here can answer? Where does the story begin?
Texas.
Austin, Texas.
Good. What is the first year and what is the last year? I didn't tell you what the last. So what is the starting year? Not you.
13.
2013.
Good. How many stages of infection are there?
4, 5.
Kind of, yes. There are 6 different kinds of infection, but I didn't get into the final one because it's something called the Rat King that's described when, whatever. Who is the leader of the Fireflies?
Marlene.
Yes. What does FEDRA stand for?
Federal Emergency Disaster Response Association.
Okay. You knew the other thing. What does QEZ stand for?
Oh, oh my gosh. I think I knew. Yes, I did.
So it's 14? It's 14 enforcement zone. What's the name of the third town?
Oh, Salt Lake City.
It was Pittsburgh.
You were close.
What almost kills Joel?
Zombies.
What almost kills Joel?
Oh, the wires.
Rebar.
After he falls out of that window.
Yeah.
Hit him with it.
How does Ellie find David?
In a tunnel. In the forest.
While hunting. Yes.
Oh.
What does David almost do to Ellie?
Kill her!
Yes. How long does it take for Ellie and Joel to get to Salt Lake?
There's a video.
It's like,
I'm sorry. Whatever. What's the biggest portion of the story basically? What is the big pivotal point in their story that eventually leads to his death?
The infection.
Kind of. It's whenever Joel kills Marlene.
Facts. Go, Marlene.